Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Diamond Hands podcast. So today I have my girl, the AMY. She is with us today and she's back with us. We actually recorded before, like back in 2020, 2021, like way back when, right?
I can't believe it. I mean, how fast time flies. It's unbelievable. So here I'm
It's
back.
crazy. And now we're in 2026. And, guys, you probably know her, obviously, but she is the founder of Glo Derma and also the great training academy called Glo Academy. And she's also the creator of, Baby Clo, which is a threads company, and also the technique, the art of reversal. So, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Leslie, for having me back. I'm so excited.
Yeah. And so, just for everyone who hasn't been with us, what we really want to talk about today, I want to kind of really focus on because you're so good at this, and we're going to talk about this, but, like self image and like what people are actually buying when they come into a practice, right? And you guys at Derma have really nailed that. And I think that's something that practice owners, no matter what level, it's always good to like kind of understand that. And and so we also want to talk about, because you're so good at media, tell us just a little bit about how you actually got into medical aesthetics.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I started off my nursing career as the ER trauma nurse in the inner city, wild, crazy. I did that for about 11 years. And
Yeah.
actually, my story is a little different than the typical. So back 12 years ago, there really weren't all these amazing resources that we have now, like in education or a blueprint. And how do you actually get into aesthetics? I mean,
Yeah.
aesthetics wasn't even really a thing 20 years ago, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't remember my mom talking about Botox or people getting it whatsoever. But I took a chance. I went and I got Botox, and it was a nurse that did it. And quite honestly, I was in no position to pay any extra money at that point on
Mhm.
anything on me, but I was in like kind of a little bit of a dark space, and I went ahead and I splurged and I went and got Botox, and I got curious. And really it was about the feeling of that whole experience. Of course, I liked the results and I liked the way I looked, but I
Mhm.
really just enjoyed that whole experience because it sparked something inside of me. Not only did it spark curiosity to want to learn more, it sparked that, wow, I love that connection, that human connection that I
Mhm.
made in there. And it really did boost my confidence, and it really kind of percolated me in this whole direction. So I went and I took my first course. And again, I was online trying to find something, to just any resource. And that's how it all began. And then 2 years after that first course that I could barely even afford, I had to borrow money from my mom, and I paid her back, obviously. And I went ahead and I opened up Glo Derma 2016. So we're going on year 10 this year. And that's one of the reasons I also am so passionate about innovation and education, because I'm really, really fortunate and honored to be able to mentor others now too who want to come into this amazing space.
Yeah, because not only that, it's like you're coming up on 10 years, and you're a national trainer for so many different companies, and it's like that takes a lot of consistency on your part and everything. So if you can talk about, so people always are trying to understand like, how do I even start training? How do I even get my name mentioned in the rooms? And it's like I think people need to kind of understand the concept of like the invisible network because it's there and everyone is like, oh, it's this person. But many times the person they think it is not the person that's actually going to get them into that room. So can you talk about that a little?
Well, Leslie, I think you touched on a big word that I love to use, is consistency. And
Yeah.
you really have to love training. Okay.
Mhm.
It's not something I think people make it so idealistic. Like, I want to be a trainer. Well, why do you want to be a trainer?
Yeah.
I think you have to go back to your why. And my why has always been, just like I mentioned, is that I want to be a resource for others. I want to keep moving this industry forward. I want to innovate. I want to create things, and I want to make an impact on other people's lives, not just my patients and the ones around me, but to the ones that are also in it for the right reasons, that want to be trainers and they want to share their knowledge with others. So, and I think, like you said, the invisible network, it's a true thing. And I think that showing up at these conferences and being consistent with that, putting your name out there, taking chances, and again, going back to your why.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, the why, because I know sometimes I think people get the wrong idea. It's almost like I want to do this for ego, or I want to do this because I want to be seen as important, because many people have like a chip on their shoulder that they're carrying. And that's not a bad thing, because I think sometimes the chip on the shoulder actually helps you to propel yourself forward. Like even how you said before, like, you were in a kind of a dark spot within the ER nursing and everything. That dark spot helped you propel yourself forward. So can you talk about, having chips on your shoulder or dark spots and how those can be used as fuel to go forward towards self-improvement?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, ER actually loved it was more of a personal dark spot for me. I have
Yeah.
5 wonderful children that you've met. They were my bright light. I mean, they were it always goes back to the why, and they've always been my why, the Fab 5.
Yeah.
And I think that you can't teach grit, right? Grit is
Mhm.
something that I think is innately inside of you. And I've always been very gritty. So
Mhm.
I think that I just fell in love with the whole emotion, the feeling that I could help heal people in a different way and really
Mhm.
help touch their lives because that one little chance I took, and again, I was in no position to be spending anything on myself. I always felt bad about that. That one chance that I took just led me in this direction. That was the beginning of it. So I think that, yes, having a chip, but also like having that grit and that desire and not trying to run from something, but move towards something is really key
Mhm.
because I had no idea what was in store for me. I just like that feeling. And if you would have told me 10 years ago, 12 years ago, even that I'd be doing this and sitting here talking to you and going all over the globe, training others and innovating and having an academy and all the things, I mean, I wouldn't have even thought it was a chance. Yeah, I didn't even know it was available. I didn't even think it was a thing because it wasn't. So I think that that's something that will move you forward. And if you keep just being consistent and showing up and doing
Mhm.
the best for people and just always showing up as your best self and knowing that you can change someone's life so
Mhm.
instantly and always considering what they might be going through and having that empathy and compassion towards them, I think that that will move it forward. And just again, you got to show up.
Yeah, showing up all the time. And I've seen you do that over and over and over again, whether we're at a conference, when we're in France, whatever, you always show up. And I think that is the greatest thing. So, a little bit about that. So, showing up, what do you think has been like the hardest, I would say, internal shift for you as a leader in this space? Because, we're in like because imposter syndrome and burnout it is a real thing. And it's like some people say, oh, when you love something, you don't burn out. That's not true. Because as you move up the leadership scale, you have more responsibility, you have more, and it's more pressure. So what was the hardest internal shift that you had to go through as you gone from point A to B and up?
I think imposter syndrome is a real thing for sure. I mean, there's plenty of times I'm sharing stages with people who I and colleagues I consider mentors and I've always looked to, and then I'm standing there and we're, more or less like equal up on stage and kind of being
Mhm.
like, wow, do I deserve to be up here? Like, do I
Mhm.
actually deserve, do people really actually care what I have to say? I
Mhm.
don't think I'm that important or anything like that, but just, I mean, that's something that I think a lot of us do go through, but then knowing that there's a reason why you're up there. So again, showing up as your best self and putting yourself out there and knowing that people are counting on you and that they trust you. So, always doing the best you can. It's not always going to be 100% and giving
Yeah.
yourself grace through that process too, because I mean, what is perfection? We teach our patients, we teach people around us. I never want to say perfect because my perfect is not necessarily your perfect. So I like
Yeah.
to say perfectly imperfect because again, you just have to that shift. I don't know when it happened. I'm a
Mhm.
Gemini, so I get bored easily. So I love the fact that in this space, there's so many avenues you can do so
Yeah.
that you don't feel stuck and that
Mhm.
burnout can not necessarily be a thing that I even considered because you can always have your hands in many different projects. It's a matter of like what you want to do with it.
Well, yeah, and with that too, it's what you want to do with it. And you and I have talked about it before. However, it's also the infrastructure that you put around yourself to make it work. Because there's still people who, they could be making however many million and they're still touching every decision, touching everything, and they're not able to really let power go to have some sort of free mindset and trust other people. Obviously, you need to put people, give them like frameworks and everything first or whatever. But it's just like, how do you think infrastructure has helped you blossom?
Oh, 110%. My team, my squad, I call the Glo Squad. I mean, that's taken years to really develop that
Yeah.
core core bit so that I'm able to spread my wings like a butterfly and go and bring all that knowledge back to the House of Glow at Glo
Mhm.
Derma. So I think that that's really important because you can look like you have it all together, but then if the core is not tight and that you don't have that infrastructure, it will not be able to sustain whatsoever. I've seen it happen before. I mean, I've had my experiences too, but like keeping that core tight and also having your being like on the pulse with what's going on and not leaving it to just crumble, because that's no way that any business will be sustainable, or a person, quite honestly. So making sure the foundation is tight, and then you're able to go and do all this other stuff, which all feeds one another. And that's a big thing too, having a team that believes in you and believes on your mission and believes on, the pillars and everything that you're working towards. We have to be all cohesive in order to make it all work and flow.
Well, yeah, because I really believe too. It's like the internal happens before the external because
Mhm.
sometimes people try and do it the backwards way. Like, oh, external, I'm gonna do certain things, but internally, it's not matching, right? And if you can kind of go into like some specifics of like, so if someone's building their infrastructure, so for you who's listening, maybe you're in year one, or maybe girl, you're in year two, or have you. So it's like thinking about building infrastructure. What comes first?
Hmm. That's a great question. That's a great, like I said, when I built Glo Derma from the beginning, from the ground up, it was just me. It was just
Yeah.
me. So I had to develop systems that was going to help me operate more efficiently from a
Mhm.
very small scale, very small scale. So I realized, okay, well, I can work 7 days a week and work 12-hour days and do this. And again, that momentum and that passion, that drive, I mean, that's what kept me motivated and going. But then it comes a point that you have to like take a pause and
Mhm.
take a look on how can I run more efficiently and how can we grow this even more so, because I could be a sole injector and that would be fine, but I really wanted to build something more. So that kind of started with having somebody do my scheduling, and we started
Mhm.
small with that. Then it was okay, now I'm ready to have an assistant in the room because I was the one doing all the things. Even when I was concierge, it was me bringing
Prepping
all the
everything.
things, checking people out, this and that, going back, getting the products and everything. And I think that's also what builds grit, because I go back to those beginning moments and I'm like, wow, I did that. Some people complain about certain things. I'm
Mhm,
just like,
mhm.
oh, did I do that? Did I like, yeah, I guess I did. That's, I think, what you have to do. And also with your finances. And Leslie, you always talk so well about this with your experience and your expertise, that like always having a pulse on your financials as well, having a good CPA, having someone that you trust. And that also comes with time too, because I've gone through a couple as well and they weren't the best fit for me. But I think that all those things just creates a really strong foundation so that you're able to continue to grow.
Yeah, and I love how you said it because it's like it's almost like if you guys listening could like imagine like a circle. Like you have the middle circle, which is yourself as the individual. So I always say like if you need to get a cleaner for your house, get a cleaner.
Yeah.
If you need to have someone watch your kids, have someone watch your kids.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly.
That personal infrastructure. If you need to get massages once a week or once a month so you feel, or if you need to train or go to the gym, whatever it is, have your core, your center first, because that is going to fuel everything else. Because, like Amy, there's no way that you're working 7 days a week and doing that at a high level unless you had infrastructure, that
For sure.
support to help you with the Glow 5.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. It's so true. I mean, you really need it in order to really flow with that. And you made another really great point, Leslie, is that it's not selfish to take care of yourself as well.
Ever.
And
Mhm.
that's the big thing. I mean, we see our patients every day and we try to empower them to do something for themselves and,
Mhm.
the glow from the inside out and everything. And then how
Right.
could I preach that if I'm not willing to take a time out, and do something for myself? So not to feel guilty. And it's okay to do these things for yourself, because again, that core infrastructure, that core starts with you. So
Mhm.
you have to be okay in order to have all these other systems and everything else work. And it all begins from you, and that starts from the inside.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. And it's like, yes, can people be successful and not take care of themselves? Of course you can.
Right.
But
Is it fun? No.
no. And at the end of the day, guess who loses? You. And you can't enjoy any of the fruits of your labor. And it's like, I also think about, if you think about like athletes. So anyone who's been, if you ever been, and I know you were a huge athlete back in the days why your abs are like crazy, but you
Thank you.
kept that up. It's like, but even with that, it's just like when you're an athlete, you have to take time for rest. Rest is as much as part of a performance as the intensity. So it's like, think of your life as like, okay, I have those times when I go hard, but then I
Mhm.
have that time when I rest, right?
Yes. Yes. And I've learned that a lot because you know me.
Yeah.
I go, 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 go. And I've learned that I cannot be the highest performer that I want to be if I don't give myself these downtimes and rest. I mean, right now, for instance, you know how much I love to travel, which is such a
Mhm.
part of me personally and professionally, obviously. But I've been home now for the longest duration, I realized, for an entire year. And it was a little nerve wracking at first. I'm like, wait, hold on a second. I don't have any trips on the calendar. I'm not like going from this place to that place. I just came back from Korea. Before that was Portugal. I mean, it's been a lot this whole year. And I actually kind of love it now. I've gotten used to it. It's a jolt to the system at first when you're used to just being on airplanes and airports, which again, I love that aspect of my life.
Mhm.
But it's nice to reset. And it's nice to
Mhm.
reground myself. It's nice to make sure that all systems are working efficiently. And if there's any adjustments that need to be made, I'm here and I can observe it. The other day, the girls get a little scared when I go out into the waiting room, because then I start moving around and stuff. Because if I go in the waiting room of my office, I usually, if there's patients there, I'll get sucked in and I love that part. But they like to keep me in my quarters at the academy side. But it was great to kind of observe the office and not on a day that I didn't see patients and kind of see
Mhm.
what's going on because you think everything's running and we have great leadership obviously, Cheryl very well, but like
Mhm.
sometimes it takes the owner to just kind of make rounds and you see it from a different lens and everything was going really good, but there's always room for improvement. We're always evolving, we're always growing. So I think it's important as a leader to
Mhm.
make sure that you do take that time as well.
Mhm.
In
Yeah, I
all
mean, that's a big thing. Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say in all aspects.
Yeah, definitely all aspects. And it's like even with that, and I think sometimes I forget what they call it, like the observer effect, right? And it's just like, if you're a high performing person, people know you're a high performing person. If you go in their vicinity, they're going to start performing higher for that
Right.
15-20 minute window of, and so if you're so it's like it's almost like, if you have a team, if you see things going really well, that's when you're watching them,
Yeah.
it's like that's the best it is, even when and there's improvements there, but it's like, oh, what happens when the mouse is away? It's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that's also why it's important as leaders and business owners, if you have a brick and mortar place, it's just like it's also good to have secret shops, just like someone coming in who your team doesn't know to actually just experience things and then like report back, or you as a business owner could have someone call and be like, how did these calls go?
Mhm.
I throw them in a loop. How do they handle it? And I think, and it's like, I think that that's something that you don't have to always hire someone for, but you can do it yourself in house.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as you grow, you have new people that are coming into the team and
Yes.
everything. So you just have to make sure that the training is up to par and also,
Mhm.
just keeping a little lookout because it's life. People get comfortable sometimes, right? We all get comfortable
We
sometimes.
are.
When I get too comfortable, I get a little uncomfortable with it,
Yeah.
but that's when I know I'm like, okay, I need to shake something up or do something different or a new project or whatever it is. So I think that's really important. And also that if you're leading by with an example to also be a good example for everyone and also empowering them to take rest and timeouts and stuff. But when it's time to work and perform, we're there to work and perform.
Yeah, the performance part of it, exactly. Something that I do wanna, like, touch on too with that, it's like the psychology of patients. I know you guys really focus on this a lot. Like, you guys have a real beautiful, like, concierge experience in your practice, but I know, patients come in and, they're asking for a physical change, right? But they're usually buying a feeling because they can go anywhere.
Absolutely.
Practices are at every corner, but how do you train yourself and your team to kind of like, listen for what someone is searching for emotionally?
Oh, yeah. I think that comes with a lot of experience, life experience as well.
Mhm.
When I was in the ER, I think back to like, when I was triage and it was like mass chaos and everything. I had to learn really quickly how to rule things out, what's chronic, what's acute, what's real, what's not, like, all those things. So I think that that skill set definitely does help me with like social cues with
Mhm.
people. And you know me, I'm a people person, and
I know.
I have so many different types of people around me that I think, and also 5 children, so I think that helps as well, and I think that life experience, I think that's something that comes with time. It's like one of those things you could say, well, either have it or you don't, and some people have it, they can connect with people, and some people
Mhm.
just have a harder time with it. As far as, like, teaching that, I guess when I mentor, like, having the girls in my room and hearing me, like, even the younger ones, how I
Mhm.
connect with people, how to kind of pick things up, it's pretty good because my brain works in, like, it's like a puzzle, right? So when someone comes in, I can feel that energy and feel kind of like the initial. And then it's like someone has their wall up. How am I going to break that wall down like in a way that is okay for them? Right. You can
Yeah.
just can't come in like throwing stones at it, but like someone like, they're nervous and you don't know what's going on in their life. So it's kind of like, how do you build that connection with time? How do you break that wall down so they feel comfortable opening up to you? And that's when the magic happens. That's when the beauty happens. And seeing someone's personal transformations. The exterior is one thing. I mean, that's something you can actually see, but knowing somebody that they came to me at this point in their life and now
Mhm.
watching them evolve and grow, and I'm just one small part of it, part of their
Mhm.
story, it gives me goosebumps. I just love it so much.
Mhm.
That's why I love what I do so much. It's about that experience.
Well, yeah, because I can imagine because like what happens for us when we start taking like self care seriously and everything. It's like I think you had said it before. It's kind of like one thing feeds another. When you start taking it seriously, and you're saying, okay, I because like aging is a scary thing for a lot of people. Aging's scary for me, and and it's one of those things like you look in the mirror, you look at yourself on FaceTime, you look at yourself and you're like, "Huh, something's changing." It's always little things. Other people are like, "What are you talking about?" But you can see it, right? And I think that's what the experience that even women who are very confident their entire lives are like, "Ooh, the world's starting to react to me differently now." Like
Right.
when I go out, maybe I'm not getting the stares from the cuties like I did back in the day. And it's like I heard someone said it. It's like a woman says sometimes it's a gradual disappear, and like no one reacts to you anymore. Isn't that scary though?
It is Fred, but I have a feeling no matter what, I think people are still gonna have a reaction to you and I. I'm pretty
Well,
confident.
I mean, because we have
I
personalities
mean,
and,
yes, yes.
like, we wear the red nails. Well, like, I would be popping out with, like, the bright purple glasses in
Right.
about 5 years. Like
Yeah. Because, yeah, we have an outgoing personality and we're able to do that. But yeah, I know it's you think about it and it can happen. Like that's what so many people say. They're just like one day they woke up and they're like, who is this person that I'm looking at? And I could imagine that is absolutely frightening.
yeah, especially, like, the
Yeah.
workplace, because because, like, you and I had the privilege of working for ourselves. So,
Yeah.
it's like, it's like building a team and all that. You could be like, "Alright, you're front facing, and I'm just gonna,
Right, right.
be more administrative leading type of stuff and don't have to be the front face." But it's just like for people who are it's like their career, that's everything for them.
Yeah.
If women are in sales or women are like even any like there's people who are like in aesthetic sales or what have you, like they'll be like, okay, like after a certain point they might feel that they're not as competitive. That's why men sometimes come in, they start getting like the jawline masculization and they start doing different things because they know that looks keep you competitive,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's like it's a thing.
It's true. And it's a true thing. It really is.
Yeah. Where do you draw the line though? So patients come in, they're looking for self-improvement, but what values guide you to say no to somebody?
Yeah, I say no a lot, actually.
Mm.
I'm very on it. My patients actually really appreciate it because of that built trust from the beginning. I always like to know and get to understand the why behind why did they want to change it, right? Without like calling them out
Mhm.
like that, but just trying to understand what are they trying to change? Is it just
Yeah.
something physical? Is it like, a self-confidence issue? Is it that
Mhm.
somebody's pressuring? I mean, you just understanding that and why they want to go through this journey. And I'm huge with like that whole consultation is a treatment, is the
Yeah.
treatment. I really believe in that because during that consultation, you are listening more than you're talking. You're
Yeah.
picking up all those cues. You're understanding the why. They might touch on what's going on in their personal life as well. And then
Mhm.
from there, you can develop a plan
Yeah.
and working off of that. So once patients start to see the results and start to trust me on this journey, and if I say no, they're okay with it. They're not upset anymore. They're like, Amy will just tell me yes or no. Like they'll come in sometimes and they'll say, I know what you're gonna say already, but I
Mhm.
figured I'll throw it out there. I think it's time for more lips or something. I'd say, I think we're good. Let's wait
Mhm.
on that. So I'm really honest with patients. I'm also honest with what my boundaries are of what I can treat. So I'm the first to
Mhm.
also refer to a plastic surgeon, or if
Mhm.
I think that surgery is an option for them, or at least get a consult. So I'll never
Mhm.
overtreat somebody. And it's one of the reasons why I created the whole protocol, the art of reversal, because
Yeah.
of the personal experience that I went through. And now we're seeing so much of this over like filled, overdeveloped, the people who went too
Mhm.
far. And again, it's no one's fault. Our treatments have improved our product selection, our techniques. There's so much. We know so much more about it. And filler
Yeah.
is an amazing resource, an amazing tool in our portfolio. But when you see a problem, I like to fix it. I'm like problem solutions. So when I started to notice this happening and filler lasting longer and so on and so forth, and really not, there hasn't really been a great protocol for how much Hylenex, the enzyme, to reverse it. What do we do? What's the
Yeah.
duration between? And playing
Mhm.
around with protocols, I developed the art of reversal, which is using ECGL PRF, which is your own plasma, to
Mhm.
restore that tissue immediately following, the reversal agent,
Yeah.
which has been amazing. And I've seen such great results in that regenerative field. And now they're not disappointed when we go ahead and reverse something that might not be desirable.
And yeah, because I know there's people have different thoughts about dissolving or changing things or have you, and so like and I love that you are able to say no. You're able to talk to them about reversal, so that you can kind of make improvements where something they might still have failure there from someone else that they got to maybe and so but with that too, it's like with that client psychology, it's just like what is the journey that you have to kind of take them through from like being like tepid and like maybe not sure if more for first time people then to okay, I have the confidence to now trust your recommendations because this is a journey that someone's
Oh,
going
yeah.
through.
Completely, and they're choosing you. So this is something that is elective. So they're
Yeah.
choosing you for a reason. There's so many great injectors out there. There's
Yeah.
so many opportunities and options. So I think that that's huge. So you have to like stay humble about that and
Mhm.
really to trust you. I think that even if we're not just talking specifically about reversing, but like once you educate them on it, because we're really big, we're an educational practice, and
Yeah.
that's what we root ourselves in, and me being an educator as well. So we're a teaching practice as well.
Yes.
And we like to also teach our patients. And
Mhm.
patients are so much more educated now about
Yes.
all these resources because there's just so much more access
Yeah.
to patients understanding this. And whether it's false in opinion or true, they're then weeding that out because of maybe my credentials or reputation and coming to me. And then I'm re educating them. And maybe
Mhm.
like something that I say just sparked them in a way that maybe even if they heard it, a dozen times before, it kind of
Mhm.
triggers something within them and then they trust. And again, I try and do my best to always lead them in the right direction that I think will provide the best outcome for that individual person as well.
Yeah, you said something, you're a teaching practice.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that comes out so well in your media. Yes, do you like to have fun? You sure do. But you also like educate and you're always showing that you educate. So, how can a practice owner kind of toe the line between, okay, making sure I am educating, but then also making sure that I'm relevant without becoming a person who just follows what everyone else is doing because that tends to be something that happens in this industry. And for some people that's fine, but there's other people who are like, that's really not me. What do I do to show myself as the authority
That's a great question. That's an excellent point, and you see that especially when you've been in this industry for so long, right? And as innovative, we're so lucky that it's always changing and there's always an opportunity. So I always like to think things like outside the box
Mhm.
and be a trailblazer. So when if I see something that's a repetitive movement, but there's really no options to improve it. That's when I like to come in and kind of like decide like, what can I do to make this better? Right. So I think that it is. I mean, you can get to a point where you're like, okay, well, you've accomplished A, B, C, D, E, F. What else is there? How do we keep going so we can get to Z? And I think that comes from the person, the individual person of how they can just make themselves relevant in this space and also enjoy it. Also have fun with it. I mean, life's way too short to just be like a robot. So that's why I always like to think outside the box and, collaboration with other amazing colleagues that are like-minded and come together. I mean, that makes it so much fun working together with such amazing people who I value and respect as friends and also esteemed colleagues. So I think that's an important avenue to consider so that we can all make this movement together, the right ones at least, leading the way.
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, everyone's serving different people, different markets, and and it's just like you said, it's like it's fun when you're building things with people. And I know I was reading somewhere one time, it's just like and it's like it's important to have also a nemesis, someone who you respect so much, but they're kind of your competition in the thing. But it's like, but you have a healthy competition, a healthy respect, but you're also like, if I can, I'm gonna do what it needs to do to get to to be on top.
It's so funny. It's like it's a great point. I honestly, I feel like I try to stay in my own lane, even with like all these multiple practices like opening up like in our area. It's very
Mhm.
oversaturated. I think it is. I mean, someone just said, I don't know if it's true or not, that there's more aesthetic practices now than McDonald's in the US.
Oh, yeah, that article
Is that
came
true?
out,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know, but
That's
I
crazy.
wouldn't doubt it. I mean, it's
I
a
know,
booming industry. Of course, everyone wants in. Will
mhm,
everyone sustain it? Unfortunately, no. But I think the right ones will continue to advance and innovate and stay around for a long time. I hope at
mhm,
least. But yeah, I think that it's like not having that comparison theory. I think is huge because one person's chapter does not equate the entire novel, right? So
mhm,
what works for somebody might not be exactly what works for you. And
yeah,
that's okay. If somebody is going in this direction and you're like, not my vibe, then you can create your own lane and your own path and create
mhm,
whatever you want. I mean, we're so lucky as entrepreneurs and we're so lucky to be in this aesthetic space that
mhm.
there's always something you could do, but don't compare yourself to somebody necessarily like that. Healthy competition. I mean, my lead nurse, Victoria, and I always have healthy competitions. If it's like that's fun because we're both competitive with one another, but like not at each other. I think that that's good. But I think like eliminating like what we said before, like the imposter syndrome. And then I think
Mhm,
what happens a lot with that is the comparison theory, and that can
mhm,
cause imposter syndrome. So it's like everybody can add something to this. And I think
mhm.
we're only better if we do it together, even if they're in different lanes. We can all add value to somebody and learn.
Yeah, I do think that I agree with that 100%. I just think sometimes about like some of the bigger companies, right? Like I'm not going to name any names, everyone here because I'm not advertising for anybody, but we can name some of the names. It's like, but they all do want each other. They say even the big skincare brands too. They're like, oh, like we're trying to get to this research first or
Yeah.
whatever, At the end of the day, whoever comes up with the research first, it makes improvements for everyone,
Right.
obviously.
Sure. Oh,
But it's
yes.
like we want to come out with this research first. We want to have this much market share by the end, and we know that they're trying to get the same market share. But how can we get the ascendancy of this market share? So I think there does have to be some teeth when we're thinking about what we're doing. Yeah, we could be like kumbaya all day, but at the same time, while we're kumbayaing, someone was thinking about how to kill us.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. You're right. I do. You can't be like too naive about that whole thing because there of course. I mean, and I think the more you rise, you kind of
Mhm.
find who your tribe is. That
Yes, I agree with
who
that.
back to this, I love that analogy. Who's your circle? Who are the
Yes,
ones that you can trust and surround
yes,
yourself with? That you don't have to and maybe they have like some competitive ways. We're all competitive, let's be honest, like we're
yes.
all competitive to a degree, whether with A or B, whatever. But that's when you start to wean out the real ones and who's
Yes.
there just for the ride, right?
Mm.
It's like it's
Period.
one of those like opportunistic kind of like mentality. And
Ooh.
I'm not wired like that. I don't look at somebody as what can you do for me? You know,
Mm.
it's the collaboration's one thing, but I don't. And I like to be honestly a connector. I love connecting people. You know
Yes.
that. So do you. You're the
Mhm.
same way. And that's one of my gifts. And
Yes.
whether it's connection with another person, but I like to
Mhm.
connect good people with good people.
Period.
Am I always right? No, no, not at all. But I've improved. I will say that through my own personal journey of who the right ones. And I'm so lucky that I have a really amazing circle and you're in it,
Yeah.
that I know I can count on. I know I can trust.
Mhm.
And I know you're not, I don't think you want to like, cut off my Achilles tendons, right?
No, we ain't doing that. No, but it's so interesting
No.
you talk about that. Like
But
Malcolm
no,
Gladwell.
I love you, but I think that like we're really lucky. Like when I bring my kids now to these conferences with me, they're like, "Wow, your friends are amazing," and it also makes them feel better that when I travel, I'm surrounded by really, really good
People that
people.
love you.
So yes,
I'll
yes,
never
and
forget.
it's
Me and
good.
your son bouncing out,
What
and
was
we
that?
got burgers. Me and your son got
I know.
burgers and fries and chicken.
In
And
Paris.
we're like, bye, Amy.
I'm like, "Where'd they go?" Oh, Leslie and Christopher went out to get chicken and fries. Embarrassed. Like, I love
Doritos.
that though. I love these are the stories though. This is what's so fun about like or the opportunity to travel and like
Yeah,
meet people like off when they don't have to be on, right? And
yeah,
having those moments. I mean, how many late night conversations do we have in
yeah.
robes in like my hotel room, just connecting and talking and being like Amy and Leslie, not leader, right?
Exactly.
We already know what our credentials, but to connect with such other amazing people in the same industry and have those
Mhm.
moments. I mean, I think that's really when the magic happens as well. And that all goes back to that human connection and like that non-robotic kind of, okay, I'm here to perform and now I'm off and I'm not friends with anybody. I don't can't connect with anybody. Like that's not real to me. Like
It's not.
the realness and the magic and the beauty starts from those connecting
Exactly.
relationships.
I love that. For everyone who's listening, I want you to think about this. So, Amy and I are connectors. That's just what we do. Like, we're connectors. But there are three. So, Malcolm Gladwell in his book, have you read The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell?
No, I haven't.
Girl, you must get it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I love it. So, he talks about there's like three different personality types that really drive the world forward. He's like, one is the connector, one is the maven, and the other one is the whoo child. The other one is the salesperson, right? And so the salesperson can really like, no matter what state someone is in, they can really bring them from point A to point B or whatever. And that's just what they do. They're just in their whole life is convincing someone about something. Like, then the maven is someone like, like a Dr. Subio or, whatever. Knowledge, 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 knowledge. People respect him for the knowledge and they're always going to, or like Dr. Joel Cohen, or people respect him for knowledge.
Yes.
And then there's the connectors, people that are like, I know a bunch of people in this group and that group and this group and that group, and I'm going to bring them together. And yes, you have a primary and they have a secondary because you're a maven as well. And you're also a salesperson, but those are secondary traits. The top
Right.
is you're a connector,
Yeah.
right? And so everyone has one of those. And so I implore you guys like think about where do you stand in your current social life, or maybe where do you want to stand that you don't right now? Because you should think about everything in like 10-year tranches, I call it, like thinking long term, right? It's a big thing.
Right. I know. It's a great one. And it's about like what legacy do you want to leave, right? And how are you going to create that? It's not just for the moment, but it's like what legacy and what imprint do you want to leave to others?
Yeah. It's a big thing. And to close on this, yeah, there's a concept, it's a Japanese business term. I'm not pronouncing it. So anyone who's Japanese, don't come at me. I don't know why. There's a bunch of Japanese people that listen to my podcast. Don't know why. But guys, called the Karatsu Network. And so it's a business term for a network of companies with interlocking relationships instead of like pure market repetition. So they say it's like vertical, it's a manufacturer and it's a supply chain, or it's like horizontal. So companies that, kind of like they feed into each other,
Yep.
because like you even have that with like, with like Baby Glow, you're a distributor, but you're part of a bigger network, right? And you're saying, I'm deciding to do business with this distributor and use this product in my practice. One hand washes the other, right?
Exactly. I created the protocol and they created the box. So it works and it works very nicely together. So it's like, okay, I can be the innovator creator and they
Yeah.
can be the distributor. So it works. And that's a great point.
Yeah. And so as you guys build your businesses, think about the psychology of what you're doing and how you're interacting with your patients. Think about the infrastructure, as Amy talked about in this episode. Think about having personal rest and taking care of yourself as a business duty. And then build your network of people that are like minded and that you go to every time, for those things. And do you have anything else you want to leave with our audience today? Any parting words or advice?
Well, I just want to thank you again as my dear friend and also for having me on your podcast. I'm so proud of you and everything that you've created. Thank you for being a part of my journey as well. And let's keep building our legacies.
Let's do it, girl.
Let's
All
do
right,
it.
girl.
Fun.
Until next time. And guys, if you're listening, if you like this episode, it was helpful, share it with someone. And as I always ask, please leave a review. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Want more clarity like this? Join the Branded Practice newsletter community. I write about strategy, systems, and brand leadership straight to your inbox. Go to diamondhandsmedia.com to sign up. And if this episode hit, share it with someone still building without a brand. This is the Diamond Hands Podcast. Thanks for listening. Now go lead.